Hi, I'm Miss Thorson. I'm a middle school science teacher. And every day that I'm not at school because of the novel coronavirus, COVID 19, I'm making a short science video to share. Today, we're going to talk about soap and water and how it can protect you and the people you care about from COVID 19. You've probably been told that one of the best things you can do to keep yourself and the people in your family healthy is to wash your hands on a regular basis. So that means every time you've been to the bathroom, before you eat, when you're coming in from outside, and anytime you've touched anything dirty. And you've probably been told that you should wash your hands for 20 seconds, meaning sing the happy birthday song twice, sing your ABCs all the way through to next time won't you sing with me, or you've probably found some other songs if you like some different music, just so long as it's 20 seconds. And you know that you're supposed to get the palms of your hands and the backs of your hands and your thumbs, right? And you're supposed to wash your wrists and you're supposed to get under your nails to make sure that the soap gets all over your hands. That's because there are two things that are important when you're washing your hands. One of them is the time, which is why you have to wait 20 seconds. And the other one is the contact. The soap has to get into every part of your hand, including inside the wrinkles, which is why we rub to make sure that the soap gets all over. I'm going to do a short demonstration of how soap can actually affect the stuff that's on our hands, and then we'll come back and talk about how that helps protect us from germs like COVID 19. So here I have just some regular whole milk, and it's got some food coloring floating in the top. So this is just regular cow milk with some food coloring. And I'm going to take this clean toothpick, and I'm going to poke into the food coloring. And you're going to see it doesn't really do very much. It moves it around a tiny bit, but nothing really happens. Okay, so the presence of the toothpick, we know, doesn't actually do very much. But if I take one of these toothpicks that's been soaking over here in some soap, so I have some toothpicks soaking in some soap over here, and I put them in, what's going to happen? Whoa. That went flying, didn't it? All right, let's try some more. Again, just barely touching it. I have four for four corners, so we're going to try the back corners now. Let's do them at the same time. It's almost like I'm stirring the milk, but I'm not. These toothpicks are actually touching the bottom, and I'm not moving them at all. But you can see it is swirling the milk and making the food coloring into that beautiful marbled pattern. That's really cool. I could frame that and hang that on my wall. So what happened there? What made the soap make the milk stir up so much? So the first thing that we need to know is, what does soap look like? So we're going to start with a soap molecule. And a soap molecule has a hydrophilic or water-loving head, and then a long hydrophobic or water-hating tail. So all of the molecules of soap, down at the particles that are too small for us to see, have these round heads that love water and these long tails that hate water, which you can imagine would be a problem. It's like if you and your best friend liked totally different things. Where could you go where you could hang out in the same place? Now remember that we used whole milk, which means it has some fat in it, and it also has a lot of water in it, because milk is mostly water. Even full fat milk is mostly water. So there's a place for that hydrophilic or water-loving head to go, the water in the milk, and there's a place for that tail to go, the fat in the milk. The question is, how do we set up the soap so that all of the parts of the soap can be happy at the same time? So what happens to soap when it's in water or in milk is that it forms this shape called a micelle. So a bunch of soap molecules get together and they form a ring of their hydrophilic heads around the outside. And they hide their hydrophobic or water hating tails on the inside. So now all of the hydrophilic heads are happy. They get to be in the water. And all of the hydrophobic tails are also happy because they get to be away from the water. This shape effectively pushes all of the water out of the way. So it's now outside the micelle. And every part of the molecule is where it wants to be. So when we put the soap in the milk, the soap started moving inside the molecules of the milk, pushing things around. The soap actually made the fat in the milk move around and twist and turn so that it could make these micelles. So that we could see the milk moving, even though it was happening very gently, we could see that because of the food coloring. So the food coloring was just there so we could see what was happening to the surface of the milk. And what was happening is the soap was punching things around so that it could go from being a bunch of individual soap molecules into this micelle shape. But what does that have to do with washing your hands? Well, there are two ways that washing your hands can help protect you and the people you care about from the coronavirus, COVID-19. The first is that when you wash your hands with soap and water and you're rubbing that soap on your hands, you're getting the soap molecules there want to get lined up into those micelles. And they do. When you rub your soap all over your hands in water, you get these soap micelles all over your hands. They're super tiny, you can't see them, but they're there. And because they are in the water and they have brought all the hydrophobic stuff to the inside, in addition to putting their hydrophobic tails inside, they also pick up things like dirt and grease, and they sweep them to the inside of the micelle as well. So now, here's a bit of dirt or grease that was on your hand, and it's trapped inside the soap micelle. So all of this hydrophobic stuff is trapped inside. The hydrophilic or water-loving stuff is on the outside. And when you rinse your hands, this part is going to want to stay with the water, so it's just going to rinse right off your hands and down the drain. So that's one way that soap can help protect you. The other way has to do with the shape of the coronavirus. And coronavirus is actually a whole family of viruses. There are a bunch of different kinds of viruses that are called coronavirus. The one that we're looking at right now is called COVID-19. But there are lots of different coronaviruses, and some of them just cause like a common cold or some other illnesses. And soap can destroy them all. And here's how. So a coronavirus has a hydrophobic or lipid, which means fat, coating on the outside of the virus. The inside of the virus has the DNA, which is what the virus uses to replicate, to make more of itself, to help make you sick. But it's protected by this lipid or fatty layer on the outside. And when the soap, here are little soap molecules coming to save us, when the soap gets on the outside of that virus, remember now we have these hydrophobic tails, they want to get inside that lipid coating. They want to be inside here because inside here is where the hydrophobic things want to be. So our soap molecules actually break open the lipid coating on the COVID-19 virus. So they crack it open. And when they crack it open in lots of places. They break it into tiny pieces. And then that coating, broken into tiny pieces, those bits of coating, get trapped inside soap micelles. And then they get washed off. So two things have happened. One, the soap has cracked open the virus and ripped it apart so it can't make you sick anymore. And then all the pieces get washed down the drain. So that's two reasons why soap is the best way to protect yourself and the people you care about from the coronavirus, COVID-19. A question I get a lot from students is, why can't we just make a medicine out of soap? Why can't we just give soap in a pill and then the soap could go around to our cells and destroy the coronavirus? And it's not a bad idea, except just like the coronavirus has a lipid outer coating, Our cells all have lipid outer coatings. And so if we put soap on our cells, it would break our cells open the same way that it breaks the virus open. So a soap medicine would actually make us really sick. So doctors and nurses have to use different medicines to help us get better from something like coronavirus. But on the outside of our bodies, soap and water is one of the best things we can do to prevent disease. So wash